The day that Denver hosted a solar home competition last year, it snowed, so that was neat. The energy-efficient homes were temporarily put up in a field near the A-line stop at 61st and Pena. Some of them were so efficient, they weren't just temporary, as in they're still sitting out there. Our Marshall Zellinger takes us back to Denver's solar shantytown.
A-line riders can look west and get that beautiful mountain view. If they look east, the view is boarded up, surrounded by fencing and tarps. The remains of a solar decathlon that took place 13 months ago.
Should I hit him?
You'll remember the solar decathlon more for the snow than the sun. DU teamed up with Cal Berkeley to build this energy-efficient home, which took third place, and then took up space in this field, along with 3 other boarded-up homes. At least until today.
What you see behind me is half of the house. There are actually 2 sections.
DU and Cal donated the home to Habitat for Humanity.
Solar panels, really lovely insulation inside, a lot of very interesting new ideas that they were incorporating. We are taking on and were given to us.
The solar home will follow the sun west tomorrow as it's trucked across town to its new foundation near Federal and Evans.
It is going to be placed in the College View neighborhood in southwest Denver.
This is not what a home normally looks like in southwest Denver, so Habitat will make some cosmetic adjustments, at least on the outside.
From what I've heard from our electricians, the solar is going to be able to run pretty much all of the energy in the house.
Okay, but why did 3 other teams leave their solar shanties behind? Somehow, this just became a Denver affordable housing story. The city of Denver bought these 3 homes for $445,000, then put out a request for affordable housing providers to put these homes to use. There may be 300 days of sunshine a year in Colorado, but the city received 0 bids for these homes.
So now what? A city spokeswoman tells me those homes will likely be temporarily moved until they can find some company to buy them. Moving them, Kyle, is not cheap. Habitat for Humanity told me the crane they had today is about $30,000 to $40,000, but they're still spending half from what Habitat might do from scratch.
So what now?
Well, $445,000 to buy those homes, and they have to move them probably for 25% of that, and then it'll be part of another affordable housing story that I'll do a few months from now.
I was about to say, if somebody wants to come in and make the city of Denver an offer, you might just get yourself a tiny little solar house. It's done so well so far. Thank you, Marshall. Adams County is likely to lift its temporary hold on new oil and gas permits next week. But we never really gotten to the bottom of whether that moratorium was needed to hold off some rush of permits from energy companies that feared new restrictions. Well, until today, we got our hands on the statewide numbers. And sure enough, drilling permits have been surging. There are a lot of factors that go into when drilling permits are requested, including whether the price of oil makes it a good play. But drilling permits piled up this year as environmental activists tried to sell Colorado voters on a 2,500 setback that the industry says basically would have been a ban on new development. When they started collecting petition signatures in April, drilling permit requests were coming in at more than double the rate of the April before. May was 3 times higher. June was double the year before. Slowdown, but still an increase July through September. And then in October, right before Coloradans voted down Proposition 112, which would have really restricted new drilling, we saw the highest monthly total of the year, 1,047 requests, double the prior year. The Colorado Petroleum Council, an industry group, noted that the amount of time that it takes to get a drilling permit approved really varies. It can be up to years. So we're going to have to keep an eye on whether this permit boom continues, seeing how the Democrats, who are about to control the state legislature next year, are expected to increase regulations. $500 million school spending plan is still just flapping in the breeze 3 days after Election Day. We have no final result on Jeffco School's $567 million bond issue. Tuesday night, that measure to fund school repairs looked like it was dead in the water. Initial results had it trailing by about 9,000 votes. That margin slowly shrank as late votes were counted, and right now, 5B is down 132 votes. Supporters actually went right down to the elections division trying to figure out why the count is taking so long. They were told it's the 10,000 in-person votes that happened on Election Day. They have to be validated one by one.
Those are much more labor intensive for processing, and our policy is we don't count until we can account for every one of those ballots.
Workers will be counting over the weekend, and final results are expected no later than Tuesday. Our next question comes from a lovely woman who called into Next, didn't want to leave her name, wanted to know how the White House could strip CNN's Jim Acosta of his press pass if the freedom of the press is guaranteed under the Constitution. All right, so here's the deal. Jim Acosta did not lose his right to be a journalist this week. He just lost his right to enter the White House. Freedom of the press protects journalists from censorship. It does not guarantee us any access. The real shame, I think, in the fight between President Trump and Jim Acosta is that it's prompting people to take sides based on politics. Press freedom should be a nonpartisan idea. If you're watching Next, I am going to guess that you can probably at least tolerate me, and hopefully you appreciate the fact that I try to lay into politicians of both parties. So take this for example. It would be unfortunate, but it would not be unconstitutional if Mayor Hancock blocked me from City Hall because I've criticized his handling of affordable housing. Likewise, it would be unfortunate, but not unconstitutional, if Senator Cory Gardner banned me from his office because I pointed out that he dodges our questions on immigration. The biggest issue, as I see it, is that anything in politics that succeeds these days is going to be copied by other politicians. And the next politician banning pesky reporters might just be a politician you think deserves those pressing questions. So perhaps you've heard that Colorado has a record number of Latino state legislators this year. It's true. Here's the headline you won't see as much. Latino representation at the state capitol used to match our population. Not anymore. Not even close. So let's turn back the clock. The last time Latino legislators made big gains in the General Assembly was 1991. Back then, there were 12 Latino legislators out of 100. And at that time, Latinos made up 12.9% of Colorado's population. So that's pretty darn representative. Today, there are 13 elected Latino leaders. That's a record, but Latinos now make up 21% of Colorado's population. For the people who are in the business of training future leaders, what they say is most important, though, is diversity of thought.
You know, they're going to be able to bring their experience in education and healthcare, but also a deep appreciation for what policy implications are for the community.
One of those Latino legislators this session is Leroy Garcia of Pueblo. Democrats just elected him their Senate president. He is the first Latino to hold that position. Have you seen investigative reporter Chris Vanderveen getting after it lately? He has been explaining this week how any of us can go to the hospital and then end up surprised by an out-of-network surgeon. Insurance won't cover the bill, and then you end up with a lien on your home if you can't pay. A lien on your house from a surgeon. Want to guess who really doesn't want to talk to Chris Vanderveen about that? Surgeons.
What a response to our series, Lean on Me. We have gotten emails, phone calls. We try to respond to as many people as possible. We told you who's getting liens, why they're getting liens, and what's not being done to protect patients from out-of-network balance billing. We've gone to the Capitol, pestered hospitals, the Colorado Medical Society, heard from a lot of you. But you know who we have yet to hear from? Doctors who send these bills. We have tried. For months we've tried. So tonight, let's issue one final thought, one final challenge. If you're a surgeon or a doctor who believes it's okay for a patient of yours to get a lien on their home or wages garnished all for a bill left unpaid by their insurance company, here's your chance. Contact me here. It's super easy. Chris at 9news.com. Chris at 9news.com, or call me 303-871-1848. That's my direct line, and commit to an on-camera interview. Answer our questions, defend your position, have some courage to justify your position. All you have to do is reach out to me. If you do so, I'll put you on TV. Tell me why this is okay, and if it's not okay, what are you doing to change that? You're surgeons, you're smart people. Let's just talk, and you can even give me the time and place. Deal? Let's go.
Before Veterans Day, a lesson in sacrifice and surprises.
Not being able to see somebody that you really care about for a whole year, would that be really hard?
Remember, this is Friday, where your good news rules.
1,000,000% proud of him.
You will love this one. And they are not the only family that is being made whole today.
The good news is that this is one of the best days of the year.
That's next.
This place was saving my life, providing me that which I couldn't provide for myself.
The homeless and less fortunate just need a second chance and a second opportunity. The Food Bank of the Rockies is everything.
As a human being, we have an obligation to our fellow man. If you're donating for any other reason, you're donating for your own humanity.
We need your help. Donate non-perishable food, clothing, toys, and cash to 9 Cares Colorado Shares on November 17th. Give someone in need a second chance.
How you doing, sweetheart?
If anyone knows,
there she goes,
the difference between work and duty.
I know you're asking for.
Gene Jiggets has known ever since he met his wife, Mary.
Mary is a keeper.
He kept her through a life of secrets. In 1951, Jiggets was assigned to an elite group of 28 men working on something they called the hydrogen bomb. And now that his work is done, it is time for his duty, assisting his 93-year-old wife
in entering into dementia,
fighting a disease that's taking her mind.
I said one thing that I will pledge that I will never do as long as I'm able to assist. I will never put you in a home.
Because she is home.
There's this man walking around Denver airport not knowing who he is or where he is.
Jerry Ellingson, suffering from Alzheimer's, had no idea why he was at DIA. No one would pick him up.
I don't want to live with him.
Brought to a hospital, Jerry's situation is not unique. We found hundreds of cases of people abandoned and stranded in Denver hospitals.
Sad, sad circus.
9 wants to know why people are being stranded. Monday at 10. We all want, our community to be a better place. And how do we do that? By informing the community, by being a part of the community, and by listening to the community.
And then we fast forward to Sunday and we are talking snow and 30s at best. Our next storm system sitting across the Pacific Northwest, giving our neighbors out there a little bit of snowfall for about the next 24 hours. We're good to go across Colorado before that next storm arrives. Tonight, temperatures falling into the low 20s. The winds a bit breezy here in the metro. They'll be howling up in the foothills, so kind of keep that in mind. Teens 20s across the eastern plains with teens and maybe a single digit out there in Gunnison. For tomorrow, temperatures warming back up with those strong winds in the foothills. These should help to warm us up. 50s across much of the metro, close to 60 in Lamar and Springfield. But here it comes late tomorrow night. That next storm system dives in. The cold front too, so we're going to be looking at those cooler temperatures sticking around for the beginning of next week. Right now about 1 to 3 inches here in the city, 2 to 5 further to the south with 3 to 7 going further up toward the foothills. We're going to be cooling things off in the low 30s by Monday and then 40s. Boom, we're back to the 60s by the middle of next week.
All right, raking leaves tomorrow. Thank you, Danielle. This weekend, hope we'll all pause to thank the men and women who have served our country. Veterans Day is Sunday. Teachers in classrooms across Colorado offered lessons on service and sacrifice this week. And in one class in Arvada, our Steve Stager and photojournalist Ann Herbst witnessed another little lesson.
Let's do something nice for those folks that served for us.
There are 2 valuable lessons on Miss Rule's plan today.
Absolutely.
The first is about gratitude.
We want to celebrate them, what they have done for our country.
Gratitude for those who serve.
You guys are going to be writing letters to our veterans.
The second lesson's a bit more complicated.
Why is tomorrow so super important?
Because my brother's gonna come home.
Gianna Montoya's brother has been stationed in Hawaii.
I haven't seen him since January 1st.
She had hoped Tanner would be here to listen to a speech she wrote about him for today's Veterans Day assembly.
He was supposed to come home today, but he had to do something and he's coming home tomorrow instead.
What she doesn't know is today's class is teaching her the value of a well-intentioned fib.
I was like, 5 more days, and then it was 6 more days instead.
She cried and was sad that he wasn't going to come, and I tried to console her and say it's okay, he understands.
I'm here to surprise my brother and sister.
Yeah, that's Tanner waiting down the hall. Don't blame him for making his sister upset.
It kind of made me sad. I was like, it hurts to do it to her, but it'll be worth it in the long run, you know.
4th grade to the gym. 4th grade to the gym.
Her mom and her teacher cooked up this idea to surprise Gianna during her big moment at the assembly.
Nervous.
We told them that his sergeant changed his flight plans and he doesn't get to come home till later.
So yeah,
I'm really bad.
They've been fooling a little girl.
Little white lies. Yeah, little white lies.
Just little ones.
Hi, my name is Gianna Montoya. Today I'd like to tell you about my big brother, Tanner.
Alright.
He is a United States
Good to go.
Okay, we're gonna hide you over here.
Right on, right on.
Gianna didn't need a lesson about sacrifice on this Veterans Day.
He is very kind and amazing.
She lives sacrifice. Each day her brother is away.
He gets a little homesick for us, but he still is very brave.
But this fourth grader may have learned a different lesson.
Tanner!
That every so often, there's a good reason to stretch the truth.
How's this for a surprise, huh?
So many stories out of courtrooms are tragic. Not today.
My good news is that I'm gonna get adopted today.
That's not a mirage. There's a tent where hungry hikers can get fresh pancakes, cooked to order. Next.
Just being here is something rare.
No.
For 5-year-old Maren Stecken. This is kindergarten at the school in Creed. This is a normal part of life.
So do you mind answering some questions for them?
Maren's mom, Honey Stecken, wasn't sure she'd get to. Genetic testing revealed Maren had a rare metabolic disease.
The moment those words came out, propionic acidemia, I mean, it was the worst case scenario.
It could make you very, very, very sick.
So the median lifespan is 5.
Under a strict diet, Maren can attend school, due in large part to a medicine that stabilizes her bodily functions.
Come on.
But just being here creates something rare.
It's kind of like, wow, I can picture my kid, she's going to go to school and you're very excited. But then there's this.
The medicine causes a chemical reaction in Maren's body, leaving her with a problem that sounds funny.
It just smells almost like rotten fish.
But is very serious.
My little girl is walking around smelling so bad that people do not want to be around her.
After years of frustration, Honey found this webpage and a product meant for feminine hygiene that prevents the chemical reactions which causes the odors. Now Maren can play with her classmates.
Guys, come here, pile on it!
Now Maren can get dragged around the floor.
Like all those images in my mind of not being asked to prom or maybe not having friends.
Now Maren's scent is just like any other kid's. Just being here, turning something rare into someone normal.
It will not be her problem. It's not her problem anymore.
I know people don't always believe this, but I'm allowed to speak my mind on this show, and I'm allowed to showcase your thoughtful perspectives, even if the bosses don't agree with them. That really does happen here. That's the strength of Next. It's important to hear things that we disagree with because lo and behold, we might change our minds. We also want Next to be a reflection of you watching at home. You're smart, funny, and you're unapologetically honest, even when it gets you in trouble. And that's what we hope that the show is as well. There have been some frightening things in the news lately. Check in with your family and friends. If you or someone you know needs mental health support or emotional help, it's available right this second. Call or text Colorado Crisis Services.
My old man feed, I bailed at Monarch, and this is my 5th day out now. You know, I'm single, I've got vacation time, and I've got my big buddy Kiefer. I'm old, he's old, but we're doing okay. And I just wanted to come out and do this trail.
The words of David Hale on the Continental Divide Trail. That trail turns 40 years old tomorrow. If you're not familiar, Continental Divide Trail runs more than 3,000 miles from Mexico to Canada. Colorado is a literal high point. If you're lucky, along the way, you'll meet a trail angel.
What was your favorite thing about today?
Pancakes, the food. Arriving the moment when I saw them and I saw that sign. And I ran up to them like I had never run up to anybody ever. I was just so happy. I wanted to cry. I was almost crying.
they see our sign down the road and it just says, "Are you hungry? Let's eat." And they come screaming up the road and said, "What do you want to eat? Pancakes or hot dogs?" And we just make it for whoever comes in. We have 3 pancakes that somebody needs to take.
They were just open arms and
going once.
They treated us like we were at their home. Like, it was really loving.
Last one more.
So many pancakes.
You're on the calorie deficit plan.
Okay, all right, I'll take it. All right.
I heard the trail angels, maybe they leave like the box of stuff, maybe some food or a little water or something, but I was just floored that they were set up like that. First thing out of their mouths when I got up there, said, "Here, you want some water? Here's a hot dog." Like, okay, you know, so great. So yeah, that was a very pleasant surprise.
Last year, I was coming down Clear Creek to the reservoir, and there was a little bitty white truck about this big, and it kept getting a little bit bigger, 2.5 miles, hot. I was dying of thirst. And we had met a trail angel up at Tennessee Pass named Dave from Wisconsin. And he just smiled at me when I got down there. He opened up his cooler and he said, "Pick anything out you want." And I got a grape soda and I almost cried because I was so thirsty. God, it's just caked on. Just to have that cold grape soda meant everything to me at that time. Is there anyone behind you that's coming?
No.
No, this is it? And so I just kind of want to give back. The little German guy said, "Where's your box?" And I'm like, "What do you mean, where's your box?" He goes, "You know, put money in." And I was like, "No money." For me, this is a way that I can give back. Done. Oh, I've probably had about 120 hugs. Yoo-hoo. High fives, fist bumps.
Thank you so much, Pooh.
You're welcome. That is awesome. I'm glad. You guys be safe.
We will.
Be safe.
Make sure you have enough food.
Have fun and be safe.
We got enough calories to get us to Crete, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
I just like this feeling of gratitude. Like, this is like a really, really sweet gift right now.
The story of the trail angels through the viewfinder of our photojournalist Chris Hansen. Chris hiked 60 miles of the trail, collecting stories all along the way. He'll have another for us tonight at 10. Next, a young heart patient hits an important milestone, just his first 14er. And your good news is families becoming whole. We will end the week feeling great next.
That is a pretty good breakfast. You're not even eating.
Not hungry.
No? Why not? What's up?
Kath and I knew that Jenny'd been partying a bit. Found out she tried heroin.
I'm Marshall Zellinger, sharing Colorado's stories. 9 News.
Each week, the stories of your life, big and small, become our good news. Like Bo, who climbed Mount Sherman just 3 months after a heart procedure at Children's Hospital, Colorado. Let's see some more good news on National Adoption Day through the lens of our photojournalist, Tom Cole.
good news is that we're adopting our little sister Aspen.
My good news is that I'm gonna get adopted today.
My good news is I'm getting my first baby sister today.
My good news is that I did not get a ticket when I went through a stop sign.
Congratulations on this very happy day.
I thought it was a one-way stop and I cut a police officer off.
My good news is that it's my second year overseeing Adoption Day and I get to bring 7 new kids to families today.
My good news is that my little cousin Mercury has been adopted officially by my grandmother.
My foster mom is nice to me and takes me to a lot of places I like to play at.
Our good news is that we're adopting 5 children today.
My good news is I adopted 2 kids. It fills my heart. It took me 5 years to adopt them.
My good news is that this is my favorite day to photograph.
My good news is I am on my second time around for raising a family.
It's a very happy occasion. It puts a smile on everybody's face.
I like this day because it's funner because everybody gets to be adopted.
That's it. That's the best news I've heard all week.
You ever seen bigger smiles on little kids? How about some more love for next youngest viewers? You take the terror out of the news the whole family can watch. When we heard that Catherine wrote her own newscast, we invited her on ours. Maybe you saw her here, and she thanked us this week with a drawing of me doing the news alongside my daughter someday. Whew! Getting dusty in here with that one. And Eloise Nelson drew this in her journal at Miss Lang's kindergarten class at Cottonwood Creek in Englewood. What'd you do today, Eloise? Says, I laid in bed, I watched Next. Good day. She's in kindergarten. As a sign of just how charitable and kind you people are feeling tonight, Sydney wrote in about your jacket. You've worn worse. See you next time. Subscribe to the Next YouTube channel for the best of Next and some other stuff.